Alright, hey guys, it's me again, and today we're going to talk about the Kuva Nukor, and the Kuva Nukor is the best beam weapon in the game, hands down. Not only does it have better chaining capabilities than the Atomos, and its chains ignore walls and geometry, it also has a 29 meter range, so pretty high range, but not the highest out of all the beam weapons. But not only does it have great AoE capabilities, it also has great single target capabilities, where its single target DPS rivals that of the Phantasma and the Synapse. Now, the Kuva Nukor has a 7% crit chance, which may seem low, but because the crit multiplier is so high, the crit chance is actually totally feasible to work around. It also has a higher magazine than the original Nukor, but it also has 50% status chance, which means you can hit 100% status chance very, very easily with this thing. Now, mine came with bonus radiation, but if I had to recommend a bonus, I'd either recommend that you either take heat or toxin, though preferably toxin. Now, here's the build. Now, the reason I'm using heated charge over the prime version is because I don't want my heat procs to trump everything else. I want my corrosive procs to be first, then my heat procs to be second. But I actually can't do that because I have a bonus in radiation. That's why I'd recommend you have either the heat or the toxin bonus, preferably toxin bonus. That way you can get a little more damage out of this thing and your procs are pretty good as well. And better procs means that you're going to be doing probably even more DPS than what I'm about to show you. But this is the Kuva Nukor. Now I'm going to show you this against a Corrupted Heavy Gunner at level 165. Oop. Even though crit chance isn't that high, it helps out a lot there, as you saw. Now let's compare that to the Atomos with a similar build, but instead of having regular heated charge, I have pathogen rounds, so that way my heat doesn't overtake my corrosive, but I still have the heat damage there. It's still pretty good, but I almost used up the entire magazine. And on top of that, the Atomos is a little less ammo efficient. So it uses ammo up faster than the Kuva Nukor. It's like slightly faster. And the Atomos has a better crit chance, obviously, but it has a way, way smaller critical multiplier and a much smaller status chance. On top of that, I think it has nearly half of the range that the Kuva Nukor has. So this is more of a close range weapon, and it doesn't chain as much as the Kuva Nukor. The Kuva Nukor is actually able to chain up to 4 additional targets, meaning you can hit 5 people in total with this, but that can actually increase if you put on, say, punch through. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I have on a punch through mod, so I'm just going to throw in Seeker here, and I'm going to pause the AI and I'm going to spawn in 8 Corrupted Heavy Gunners just to show you. You can sort of get multiple chains going. So normally I'm able to chain up to 4 additional targets, hitting like 5 of these. So I'm just going to hit you on the side here. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets were hit. But with punch through, I can chain through multiple targets, which means I can have multiple chains going. So I actually was able to hit all of the targets. So keep that in mind. If you do want more AoE, then you might want to go with like punch through instead of another elemental mod here, if you don't really care about the damage that much of the Kuva Nukor. Now let's compare that to the Phantasma, which has pretty high single target DPS. Now I'm not going to be running my Riven with this build, but this is the build I am running for my Phantasma, and versus our level 165 Heavy Gunner. Just killed it pretty fast, though I did have to go through a couple magazines because the Phantasma's magazine size is pretty low. Now let's compare that to the Synapse. Now the Synapse has the advantage of coming with innate corrosive, meaning you can run corrosive viral on this thing. Now it being a primary with a decent crit chance, that also means it can take advantage of hardened munitions, meaning you can get slash, viral, and corrosive on this thing, and it has a pretty good Riven disposition, but I'm not going to show you my Riven right now. Even with having corrosive and viral on this thing, the Kuva Nukor was slightly faster than the Synapse. Now because this thing has the highest critical multiplier in the game, but it's also paired with a pretty low crit chance, it is beneficial that you can increase the critical chance of this thing with like Arcanes, like Arcane Avenger or whatnot, or you can run Harrow or an Adarza Kavat, though I'm going to show you what this looks like with Harrow and his red crit ability on his 4. And you can see, it's pretty crazy. Now, in case you're wondering what that's like against multiple targets, I'm going to spawn in 8 Corrupted Heavy Gunners. Now, the only, real downside to the Kuva Nukor is that its reload is a little slow, but that's really not a big issue. And a lot of people said that this weapon needed pistol ammo mutation, but I never really ran out of ammo with this weapon ever. But if you do run out of ammo with this thing, because maybe you put on, extra fire rate on this thing, which I can totally understand why you'd want to do that, then you're going to want to put on a pistol ammo mutation. But it's there's a lot of choices when it comes to your Exo slot. Where even Trick Mag is actually a pretty solid option, as it makes it so that I have 400 rounds in reserve, and that's a lot. So yeah, if you actually want a good AoE weapon that also does really good DPS, but doesn't destroy your computers like the Brahma, pick this up. Anyway guys, that's all for me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.